Hello everyone, my name's George Hammond and today we're going to be taking a look at a really interesting new and unique library by Westwood Instruments, and this is called Solo Brass Untamed. Now, when I first heard about this, I was over the moon. I couldn't believe that they were doing this because I've heard so many good things about their solo strings library, so their Solo Untamed strings. And from the people I know who have got it, it's apparently fantastic. So I was more than happy to hear that they were doing a brass version. So it will be very interesting to check this out. Now, Westwood kindly sent me a copy to review and have a look at here. And I've had a bit of a play with it. And it really is very unique. And from as far as I'm aware, there is no other brass library in the world like this. It is so unique and so cool. It's just, the sounds in it can be used in so many different ways. And even if you take away the improvisations and you just go to the longs and the shorts, the tone is fantastic. The room they recorded it in is lovely. There's a great selection of microphones, and currently it's £105 instead of £175, which is its usual price. This is due to the intro period. It only came out a few days ago, so I'm really excited to be jumping into it really soon. It's only for Contact Full, so do keep that in mind if you do want to go check it out. But let's jump into Cubase and let's take a listen to the Trumpet. So this is what the UI looks like. As we can see, it's version 1.0. There's a nice EQ section here we can turn on or turn off, and we can change the attack, and we can for the longs, and we can change it separately for the shorts. So that's really nice, especially if you're using key switches. I believe there's a key switch function, though I haven't. Yes, here we go. Though I haven't personally experimented with what the key switches are. As we can see here, we've got levels here, faders for dynamics and etc., things like that. We've also got a vibrato feature here, which is really nice. It's got the 4 microphones, as I mentioned, which are spot, close, room, and gallery. I do love a good gallery mic, so it's really nice to see that included here. Let's take a listen and see how improvisation A sounds like. So straight away, the tone there, as I said, is just absolutely beautiful. I don't know what it is about it, but the tone is just so nice. The room it's recorded in is beautiful, and I think it really captures that intimacy that real solo brass sounds like. I used to play the tuba, and there is nothing like a solo trumpet. I can't stand the sound of ensemble trumpets, 3 players or more. I don't know why, but I just hate the sound of it. I don't know why I always have, but the solo trumpet, I think it's got a really nice texture to it. And so what I really like about this is we can select multiple improvs and multiple articulations in general. So we could select every single articulation and try it. This might be a bit loud. Interesting. So it's really cool that you can do that, because a lot of libraries unfortunately do not have the ability to select multiple articulations at the same time. You'd have to load up another instance, and the problem with that is it takes up more RAM, etc., etc., and it's really hard to dial in the exact same levels if you want to mess with the microphone positions. So that's what I really like about this. So we'll just take a listen to Improv B on its own. So what I don't like about that is the fact that it is velocity sensitive. That is a little bit annoying. I don't think there's a way to turn that off, though I believe you can use the dynamics there as well, but it's a bit of a shame. I think there's different round robins for the hard and the soft ones. Even with me using the mod wheel here, it is still, there's a slight tonal difference, texture difference with me pressing hard and me pressing soft. I hope you can hear that. If I put it up to max, you'll be able to hear it more. So that's a little bit of a shame, but I understand why they've done that. It allows for more expressivity, etc., etc. We'll just take a listen to all the improvs for the trumpet at once. See what this sounds like. So there's it's very violent, and I think that can be quite nice in different tracks. Because what I think this library is really meant for is that really underscory type of music that you hear in a lot of films and in TV, and I think it fits really well. If you're writing textural music, stuff like this is just fantastic. The improv around here, so this cycles through the 4 different ones every time a new note is played, so that's quite cool. So you can either have all of them individual or it can cycle through them, so that's a really nice feature that really allows you to experiment with the different sounds included with the improvisations. We've also got storms here, which start on one improvisation and they start to build up to all 12 levels, so that's really cool. Let's see what this sounds like. That's really nice. I can definitely see a lot of uses for that. If we just turn up the gallery mic here a little bit, let's take a listen to that. So that really captures the room really nicely, I think. What about the close mics? So that is really quiet, but there is a really nice tone to that. Now all mics together. Oh, that spot is still loading in a little bit, but you can already hear that it really captures that room lovely, and I think there's a nice amount of reverb there. It's not too dry. With a lot of solo instruments, they'll go really intimate, really small room. No, with this, it's in a big enough room where there's a tiny bit of reverb, but it's not overbearing, but it just adds a nice little flavour to it, which is really, really nice, and I do love the sound of that. So a really, really nice sounding thing. Obviously they've got the reverb turned on here as well, so if we turn that off, there's still a nice amount of reverb in that room, and just turning on that reverb, which is the warm hall, just adds that tail which you need. But if you turn it off, you can still hear what I was talking about, which is the intimacy but with space there. It's not really, really intimate, no space, and it's almost I think it's really unrealistic when you do that. So it's really nice that they've not recorded this in too small a room, and they've included a reverb you can add on as well if you want a larger tail. So that is really nice. I think the release tail is a little bit short, but you can't adjust that here, so that's a little bit of a shame. You can do for the short, so we'll turn the reverb back on. If we just go to the longs, this is your standard longs. You'll find this in most libraries, but again, the tone of this library really sets it apart from anything else that I've tried, especially in the euphonium. I was writing on VI control the other day. When we get to that, you'll just have to hear it, because it really is the best sampled euphonium I've ever heard. Just the texture and tone of it is so different to so many different libraries, and it really matches the euphoniums that I know and that I experienced and played next to. So as we can see, those longs are just absolutely fantastic. And we've also got moots here. So that's really nice to see. They're not just giving us the improvisations, they're also giving us the standard articulations that you would want from a solo brass library. Though, of course, the improvisations are, of course, the bit that they want to focus on the most. And I think that's fantastic, because that is really unique. There's not really any other libraries for brass which include articulations like this, so it's really nice to see it explored, because I often think textural brass is a fantastic sound. It's just not really used as much as I think it should be. So it's really nice that they have included some patches like that. I don't like the long moots as much, but in general, I'm not a big fan of mooted brass. I think it has its uses, but generally, I think it's something you should reserve and only use when it really is needed. Here is the alt finger. So what is this? This is a rapid alternated finger technique, creating a tremolo sound. Very nice. So that is really nice. And we've also got soft air. Now this really reminds me of Albion 5 Tundra by Spitfire Audio. So it's nice to see other libraries experimenting with that type of articulation. So really nice, and I like that they've included the mute here as well, because it would be very easy to just not record the mute as well, but they have done so. So that is really nice. So that is also really, really nice. And when I as I said, I don't really like muted brass. However, in this context with the soft air, I think it sounds absolutely lovely. And what I like here is in the shorts, when we get to the shorts, you can see there are two different types of mutes available, which is really nice, because often the only other library I know which has an extensive list of multiple different types of mutes is Aaron Venture's Infinite Brass, which is not something I've checked out, but I would like to at some point. Let's take a listen to Surges. An interesting one. I don't like that as much as the airs or the improvs, etc., but it definitely has its uses, and I think that is something you'll find if you do get started with a lot. There's some things which are usable everywhere, and there's some things which have a really specific use, but when it comes to that very specific use, this is fantastic for it. We'll skip over the mute version, and here we've got some tonguing. So that's really nice. And here we have tonguing muted. We'll skip over that. We've got half valve. That sounds really interesting. I don't really know what to think about it. It's a nice sound, but again, it's one of those ones which has its a very specific use, and it'd do very well, though I personally can't exactly see what that use is, but I think if you mixed in with the improvs, it'd probably sound quite good. Yeah, fits instantly. So a lot of these things sound really good when you mix it in with the others, and that is a great example. Really sounds quite nice there. So this is a technique where the tuning pipe is completely removed. Sounds interesting. That is lovely, and there are definitely some uses I can think of where that would work fantastically. Like medieval stuff. It's just finding the right pitches, but if that is in the other instruments, fantastic. Really do love the sound of it. It's a very intimate sound, but it's also very primitive, as they themselves have said. Reminds me of old medieval Renaissance trumpets, which didn't have any valves. You would control the pitch with your tongue and lips and how hard you're blowing, etc. So it is a really nice tone. Let's get on to the shorts. Really lovely. Let's take a look now at the Flugelhorn. I think it's really nice that they've included Flugelhorn. It often gets overlooked, and it's not something you would exactly expect for a library like this. There is no French horn, so it is really nice they've included this. Let's take a listen to all the improvisations. Really, really, really beautiful. We won't spend too long looking at this one, but the tone is there, it sounds lovely, and it's nice to see it included. Trombone. This has got a lot of articulations, and we're going to jump straight, and we're going to jump straight to the bends, and we're going to have a listen to them. Amazing. I've been looking for a library which does that for years now, and because it's so annoying to have to draw it in the MIDI and then get your pitch wheel and start modulating it, record that in or draw it in. So it's really nice to see a library which has just recorded it live, because it never sounds the same when you just start using the pitch wheel or some pitch plugin. It will never sound the same as real musicians actually drifting like that. So it's so amazing that they've included it, because I've been looking for a library which does this for years. I can't recall how many, but just for ages and ages and ages. So it's really nice that they've done this. Amazing. There's so many uses for that. I can see me. I'm so happy they've got that in it, because that is just why it's such a simple thing to do, and so it's really surprised me that no one else has done it yet. It's silly. Let's take a listen to the drones. Beautiful. I love the fact they've included drones, because, well, why? Because when you have a normal long and you hold it down, there's a loop point, and often with sustains, the loop point is very noticeable, unfortunately, if you're droning out for quite a long time. I write a lot of drone-based music, so it's nice to see. So it's nice to see the fact they've included those. Multiphonics here, drone sound where the player is also humming a fifth above. Lovely. Just an absolutely beautiful tone there. So it's really nice to see that. And it's really nice to see falls as well. Not a lot of libraries include falls. Beautiful. It's lovely that those are included. Now we're going to take a listen to the shorts here, because they are fantastic. Really, really beautiful sounding. So that really goes to show that this library it is intended for that really textural stuff, but you can use it just fine on its own and in context for more cinematic pieces, etc., etc. And I really do love its intimacy. I think it's fantastic for that. Let's take a listen to the Storms. I love that. You can go from being so mellow to so violent. It's really, really beautiful. And the air, they've included the air as well. Just absolutely fantastic. I'm just blown away really by the variety of sounds included in this library. For £107, which is the sale price, there's so much content really. I think it's a shame there isn't a French horn, but other than that, there's so much in here. The amount of microphones, the features, the sound, the room, the intimacy, the instruments. It's fantastic. It's definitely a highly rated library by me. We will get to a rating a bit later. Now onto the Euphonium. Now, the Euphonium, when I was writing on VI Control, I was saying it's such a mellow instrument in this library, but it also has that bite, and that is completely true. If we go to the longs here, it's got that lovely, lovely mellowness, and I like how it's a kind of a mid-range instrument. You can match it with the tuba. I have got a multi-patch here I created, which is the Euphonium Tuba. We'll listen to that in a bit. And matching it with the tuba and occasionally with a bass and drum, which is not featured here, you can get a really nice mellow brass sound, because the Euphonium just rounds it all together, I think. I really do love it. But if we go to the shorts, it also has this grittiness, this brutiness to it, and it has a lovely bite. Which is just so nice to see, because the Euphonium libraries I've tested, it's really overlooked, and it's really a dull instrument in a lot of libraries. The BBC Euphonium is not really to my taste at all. VSL one equally is not really to my taste, but this hits the spot completely. I love it. If you're looking for a really good Euphonium library, I'd recommend this on its own, to be honest, because the Euphonium sounds so beautiful. There's such a lovely tone to it. We'll turn up the spot and close a little bit here. Turn on some more microphones. Just sounds so beautiful, doesn't it? We haven't even listened to the improvs yet, which are, of course, the main part of this library. Oh, yeah, that microphone's still loading in. That's a spot, I believe. We'll just wait for a minute there. We'll just listen to one for a second. Beautiful. I think that captures exactly what I'm saying. Because it's got that melodiness and it's getting that bite in there with the improvs. Just fantastic. How about all together? Absolutely fantastic. I really do love the sound of that. It's so amazing, really, how expressive it is. There's so much expressivity in these improvisations that it's just fantastic. The amount of stuff you can do with these improvisations, it's just usable to all extents. It's just fantastic. I love it. Let's take a listen to the vibrato slow. In my opinion, that vibrato is a little bit fast for vibrato slow, so let's take a listen to what the vibrato fast is like. Yeah, that's kind of what I'd expect for a fast vibrato. It's quite nice. And so that, again, it's such a mellow sound, this euphonium, but it also does have that bite in the shorts. That we'll take a listen to the short moots here. And what we've got here, I've actually omitted it, there we go. We've got these smudges. And so what's really nice about these smudges being included is they can be really useful for grace notes. If you've got a section playing and you just add one of these, it can really allow it to sound more human, because in reality, no one's going to play something 100% perfect 100% of the time. So stuff like this is really fantastic for that. We've also got these pops here. And what I think is so fantastic about that is just the range of expressivity you can get with that, but also the creativity that you can use with. This is a sound you can really dive in sound design. But there's also this, we've got the flatter here, which is what I wanted to listen to. Flutter, sorry, I read that wrong. So that's really nice as well. Let's listen to the tuba now. We'll listen to all the improvs. So that has that deepness there of the tuba. That's really, really nice. The longs. However, I think down in this octave here, it's a little bit too muddy. I'm not sure how to describe it, but this smoothness up here, you can definitely get that down here. But equally, that is quite a nice sound, and I can see why they've gone for that. That is generally what you want a tuba to be like. I personally don't. I prefer it to be a bit more smoother, but I will admit, I do like this sound in a lot of my works. We go to the flutter. I don't think the flutter works as well on the tuba. It's a bit too deep, it gets a bit too muddy a bit too quickly. This is into improv B here. See, that is fantastic. There's so much going on there, but so little at the same time. That can really be used in a lot of tension building scenes, and it's just fantastic. It would have worked wonderfully on something I was scoring recently, because it's mellow, but equally it's got that deepness to it, and it's got that richness, and it's building at the same time, and it's tense. It's fantastic. Let's listen to the shores. Beautiful. Beautiful as always. It's hard to mess up a tuba short. Those pops again. We've got the multi here. I don't really know what to say. It speaks to itself because it is such a beautiful sounding library, and the features that in it is, as I've said, fantastic. And the sound of these sounds, it just can be used in so many different things. It's a shame there's no legato, but this is not what that library is about. It's not a melodic lines library. It is a really textural tension building thing, and for that it is fantastic. Now I want to go onto some of the multis I've made here, which is why I didn't really cover the tuba in a lot of detail there, unfortunately, because I really wanted to jump into these multis I built. So this is the euphonium and the tuba together. See, that really does have that richness and that smoothness and that bite to it as well, even though we're playing the long C. If we go to the shorts, so as you can see, it is both together in context. It's really nice, and this is what I wanted to show you with these multis, that this library is fantastic on its own, but in context with multiple of these instruments playing the same thing, it really is fantastic. We'll just listen to all of the improvs here together. See what I mean? In context together, they are just absolutely amazing. It's mind-blowing how good this sounds. Because when I initially saw this library, when I saw they'd announced it, I was very excited. I was very excited that they were doing something so unique. But I did have my reservations. Would this work well on brass? It worked very well on strings. And the answer is yes, it has worked fantastically on brass. Let's listen to this combination here of flugelhorn, trumpet, and trombone. Hang on, no wonder I had an octave down. And now, as I was saying, together they are just so fantastic. They're powerful instruments on their own, but when you put all the instruments in this library together, it is really fantastic, as we will now see with this multi. It's just so fantastic. I don't know how to describe it really, because solo brass is something which I feel really connected to. I used to play solo tuba, and I used to play the tuba with other people in a little brass band as part of what I did at school, etc. And I've always had a very strong connection with brass instruments as such, and I love using them in as many projects as I can. And this library is just sounding so unique. There really is nothing else like this on the market. And I think it's fantastic that a smallish company, Westwood are not massive, they're not a Spitfire, they're not an Orchestral Tools, but that a small company are being able to do something this good with a small team is just absolutely mind-blowing. And it's really, really cool what they have been able to do so far. So I can't wait to see what they do in the future. Maybe an Untamed Woodwinds? Who knows? It'll be fantastic to see what they do in the future. But overall, this library, I've said it quite a few times, but I think it's just so unique and so intimate, and I love it for it. I'd have to give it an easily, it's an 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, because the uses for this library are just so vast. You can use it in so many different contexts, and especially the context that I write in. You know, I write a lot of tension stuff, but I also write a lot of medieval stuff, and stuff like this really fits that quite well. I think there's a lot of stuff you can do with it, and overall I think it's just a fantastic library, and for the price it's definitely worth it. Go check it out. There's a link in the description. What I do have to say is it's a shame there's no legato. That would probably bring it up to a 10, but the thing is, this library does not need a legato, because that is not what it's trying to do. It's not trying to be your average go-to brass library. It's meant to be really specific for a specific job, and it does that job specifically well. So I would probably give it a 10 out of 10 for what it does, but in the general context of all brass libraries out there in the world, it's around an 8 or 9. But for this type of brass thing, it is unique. There's nothing else like it. It's a 10 out of 10. It's fantastic, and I think it's definitely something you should go check out. I don't know how it sounds in combination with their strings, but it may well be worth, if you do this type of music, getting both and using them together, because if this is what the brass is like, the strings have got to be good. I've heard a lot of good things about the strings. It'd be good to check those out one day. And overall, I think if you're looking for a really nice brass library, solo brass library, which you can use in a wide range of situations, this is what you should go with. It just sounds absolutely fantastic. So thank you for watching this video. I know it's been rather long, sorry about that, but there's been so much in this library to go check out that I think it would take a while to check it out, and it has taken a while to check it out. So thank you if you've watched this far. There should be timestamps, hopefully, maybe, but if you have come this far, thank you for watching. Do leave a like if you like the video. Subscribing is always welcome, and I happily appreciate it. And I hope you enjoyed checking out the sounds on this library, because to me, I think it's absolutely fantastic. So thank you ever so much, Westwood, for sending me over a copy to check out. I love it. It's mind-blowing how good it is. It really is very good. So thank you everyone for watching. My name has been George Hammond. I hope you enjoy this video, and I hope you enjoy the next video. Goodbye.